What's up?
Nothing much. Your hair looks different.
How's it?
Yes.
I haven't gotten a haircut, so.
Looks very Rico Suave.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Do you want to talk about what's going on with you guys currently?
Yeah, I guess I can.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got this house under contract on Antelope in Temple.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we posted it. You can see it. I sent you the listing. Looks great, right?
Yeah.
So initially with that, we got it under contract for $200,000, and we were quoted a rehab of $35,000. This is $35,000 in materials. This doesn't include labor.
Yeah.
And the deal with the labor was with the contractors, there was two of them. It's a father and it's a son.
Yeah.
Was we're going to purchase the materials, they're going to flip the house, and then we're going to split the profit on the back end, 50-50. And
And the materials cost you 35,000. They're not responsible for any of it though, right?
they're not, no, they're responsible for getting the materials and flipping the house. They quoted us $35,000. So we get $35,000, but so we can get the money from a PML, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
Kinley tells the son, he says, "Hey, you got a business. I know how to get business credit. How about instead of us paying 10%, since we're splitting on the back end, I'll get you business credit, and you can use that business credit to fund the deal, and then afterwards that business funding will be available to you, and we won't have to pay that 10%." So he's like, "Oh, great, that's a good idea. We should do that." So Kinley does get him business credit. He gets him $60,000, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the initial quote was $35,000, and they go over budget. And after they go over budget, they tell us they need another $15,000. So me and Kinley give them another $15,000. They use that money, and then they go over budget again, right? So at this
So
point,
you are 35,000 plus the extra 15. Now they want to go over again. Okay.
yes. So we tell them, hey, we borrowed money up front, right? Not only we borrow up money up front, we got another lender to go in second position. They don't like doing that, but we're going to
Mm-hmm.
do it because you need the money. And then they ask for more money, but I guess they feel guilty about asking for more, and they come out of their own pockets about $12,000 to $15,000, right? And it takes them 3 months to flip this house, right? From beginning to end.
So
And
are you at 62,000 now? The 35 plus the 15, then they felt guilty, so they came out of pocket 12.
yeah,
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah, if the numbers are, I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Yeah.
Um, I got the exact numbers that I can actually forward you. But we're going to pay back 10% on the 200, and we're going to pay back 10% on the 15, and we're also going to pay closing costs, which will be around 8%. 3% for buyer, 3% for seller, and then uh,
Recording fees, I know, all the little nuance doohickey stuff.
yeah. So after that, we're going to be all in about 330,000 after everything's said and done.
Okay.
Um, so they go in there, they flip it, but it takes a long time, and they're busting their ass every day because they're putting sweat equity into it, because essentially they weren't supposed to come out of pocket. They did come out of pocket on the back end, but they quoted us 35. They needed 15 more, and we got them more money, and they still needed more. And
Yeah.
they're upset. The dad's saying he's never going to do a deal with us again. They're saying that
Okay.
Kinley's really greedy. They say Kinley's really greedy. They're pretty pissed off at Kinley. I mean, I had a 2-hour conversation with the son last night, and I mean, that's essentially what they were saying. They're making me feel like we did something wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if we did anything wrong.
All right, pause for a second. I need to go run and get a pen just to take notes for me. So just give me a second.
Sure. see if I can find this shit real quick anyways. I don't know if you can still see me, but I'm still here. I'm trying to find the
I can still see you. Take your time. So purchase price was 200.
yeah, I'm trying to actually just send you everything. So
Yep, 35 was the initial rehab. It's supposed to be materials only. They asked for another
yes.
15, and then you spent 8% on that. Then they came out of pocket 12. Okay, got it. How'd you do that? Where'd you send it? Text message? Oh,
I texted it to you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should
no,
have
no,
done it in the messages. So if
you're okay.
somebody's watching the recording.
No, it's okay. I don't bring these messages over anyway. So
Okay.
purchase price was 200. The interest was 20,000,
Yeah, 10% on the 200.
10% flat.
Yes, we always do
That,
flat.
that's crazy.
Is it bad or good?
That's bad.
Yeah, I know, but it works. So,
Why'd you do that?
it's just what we do, man. That's how we
If
always
it
done it.
if it was flipped in 6 months, which is pretty normal, 3 months rehab, maybe 2 months like listing it and an extra month of a buffer, that's 6 months
Yeah.
all in start to finish. 10% flat fee is 20% APR over the entire mother effing year.
hmm
If you did it just traditional, I'll give you my lender, Julian, right? A normal average like hard money lender is going to be less than 15% annually, which means that you should only be spending about 15% in interest if you held it the entire year.
Yeah.
If you held it for half the year, then you'd be at 7,500 for interest. And so right now you spent too much money on that, but that's okay. We can fix that. That's an easy fix.
Yeah.
All right. So interest is 10%. The loan for 15,000, the interest I'm guessing was 8%
Yeah. No.
because
The loan for the loan for the 15 was another 10%. So it's 1,500 on top, right?
okay.
No, no, no.
Is it
We paid back a little bit more on the 15 because it was second lien. We had to make it more
second
enticing.
position? So
Yeah.
I have it right now. Your loan for 15,000, you're paying interest 3,500.
Yeah.
Stop doing that, number one. And if you do that, just come to me because I'd rather make this is ridiculous amounts of money that you're shelling out.
Yeah, I told you I got lending opportunities and well, I got opportunities that need to be funded actually.
Yeah. But I had no idea you're funding it at these rates. These rates are ridiculous. You don't need to do this. I don't know why you're doing this.
I don't I don't go find the private money. Kinley goes and finds the private money.
Well, then
But
I'm
if
gonna go
you
yell at Kinley.
yeah, you should.
Okay, you give me his number, I'll yell at him. All right, so let me see. So 15,000, that's outrageous. So you're paying about 23% flat, which is crazy because if you borrow it at half the year, you're paying 46% APR.
Yeah, I'm paying in interest, I'm paying 23.5 right now.
Yeah, flat fee. But if you take half the year, you originally planned for a 3 month rehab. 3 month rehab, you take 1 month to list it, maybe 1 month for the mortgage to underwrite it, and an extra month as a buffer. That's 6 months in. 6 months in and out is half the year. Half the year at 23% flat fee. So 23% flat for 6 months equals 46% over the course of the entire year. 46% is three times what you should be paying in second position. I will yell at Kenley.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put us in a group chat. That way we can both that way I can look at it too, because I'd love to understand.
That's way too much money. I don't know why you guys are borrowing like that.
That's the way we've always done
Unless,
it, and it's quick.
yeah, who wouldn't give you that kind of money? 10% flat fee? Don't do that again. That's bad. All right, so taxes are this 58.98. Is this for the, I'm assuming that's for the year, right?
Yeah, that's the length of whenever we had the property. So we're going to be responsible from the date we purchased it to the date we sold it.
Right. And right now you had planned on, I'm assuming 6 months because you did 3 months of rehab, so 6 months of holding time. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, so that's 12,000 for a property in Texas. That's kind of high.
It's a good neighborhood.
Okay. What is AC? Oh, acquisitions cost?
Yeah.
2K. Closing cost on 400,000. You're selling for 400,000?
Uh, I was doing that conservatively. We have it
Yeah.
listed for 479. I feel like we're going to meet right there in the middle sweet spot of like 450. So
Okay. All right. So closing costs about 8% closing.
yeah, so
And then
whatever 8% of 450 is.
I gotcha. And then Lane and Mike is 52,700. And I'm
Yeah,
assuming those are the sellers or who are they?
that's the other partners,
What partners?
the son and the father.
Okay. So why is
You
that a
gotta
flat?
you gotta remember because Kinley got him business credit, and in return for Kinley getting them business credit or Lane business credit, he was gonna fund the flipping part of it and not charge any interest.
The 35,000 with no interest.
Yeah, but they're at 52,000 with no interest.
Got it. How did you get to 52,000 at no interest if initially they were going to do 35,000 no interest? Then they asked for an extra 15%, which you guys funded. So they didn't fund it, you funded it. And then you said they came out of pocket another 12,000. That would make it 47,000. So there's an extra 5,000. They went over again another 5,000.
Yes, that's how much they went over is 52. Well, that's how much they're all in
Yeah.
On Lane's credit cards and what Lane and Mike personally put in.
Okay, so 52,700 is everything from them. Everything on your side is 15K that you borrowed at 8%. That means all in you're at 67,000, which I can tell you right now is about double the initial rehab cost, which they were the ones to tell you the initial rehab cost. So for them to be double their rehab budget on materials alone is a huge red flag.
Okay.
Do they understand they fucked up?
No, they don't. Mike hates Kinley's guts, never wants to work for him again. And Lane and Kinley they used to be like best friends. And, Lane did not have very nice things to say about Kinley for about 2 hours last night.
I got you. So where you guys stand right now, let me just write this out.
We should be all in around 330 if my back of the envelope math in my head is correct.
I'll give you a spreadsheet. I can whip one. Do you have a spreadsheet?
I do. I don't have my laptop on me pretty much.
No, no, you're good. You're good. 330. You think you're gonna sell for about 450, which means the spread right there is 120. That means the guys are gonna make about 60K.
Yes.
And they're upset about it.
Yeah, they don't feel like it's fair because
What
they
would
didn't get
what
paid. They didn't get paid for managing the project, and they didn't get paid for the labor that they put in. And they're bitching about that. But whenever they couldn't afford to get anybody over there and help them, I was over there helping them. I didn't get, I found the guy who glazed the tub. I didn't get paid a contractor fee for that. I helped lay the floor. I didn't get paid for laying the floor. I helped touch up
Yeah,
the paint on the house. I didn't get paid for painting the house.
yeah. All right. So
I
if they
found the guy
think
to do the fucking yard. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, if they don't, if they're saying it's not fair, what's their proposition for what is fair?
So Lane says he was going to come back and he was going to renege with Kinley on the back end. Kinley cares about his friendship so much that he doesn't want his portion of the profit. He said he'll just give his portion to Lane.
No. I could
I
punch Kenley in the face.
I told him that it wasn't fair to me, and I told him no, and I was going to be upset with him. But then it's like Lane's going to be pissed off at Kinley, and then I'm going to be pissed. How does he win in that situation? So that wasn't fair. So I got to tell him I don't feel that way, even though I do feel that
No,
way.
you do you have this on paperwork as to like 50% profit split, blah blah blah?
No, it was all handshake because Lane's a good friend of mine too, and Lane's a good friend of Kinley. So it was like a handshake deal.
Okay.
Lane was in super debt, and this was supposed to get him out of debt, and me and Kinley were supposed to flip the house and just fucking make money out of it.
In all honesty, I think they made good money on it. And here's why. At the end of the day, for a contractor to come in, usually I'm paying them about like whatever my materials cost, I'm paying them that much, if not more, to install it. So I can give you some like contractor numbers, but like for example, if I have a vanity, my vanity costs me like $500, it's going to cost me maybe about a buck 50 for them to install it. Maybe after everything is said and done, like plumbing, fixtures, blah blah blah, maybe if it costs me 500 to buy the thing, it's going to be about $500 in labor to have it installed and all done. So right now, it looks like they put in 52,700 in materials. They're going to get paid out 60,000. 60,000 at a minimum is covering their labor costs, their labor and project management and GC fee, if there was a GC fee.
That is not the way that they're looking at it. I'll tell you
And
that. And
and that's
there
and
was
that's fine that they're not looking at it, but also I love how you're at the end of a project already, and now that you're at the end of the project, that's when they want to renegotiate. They could have renegotiated back when they blew their budget with the first 35,000.
so in your professional opinion, you don't feel like Kinley's wrong.
Why would Kenley be wrong?
I don't know. I don't know why they're you got to understand. I work with Lane a lot. I talk to Lane a lot. I'm good friends with his father.
Yeah.
Um, like I have a good relationship with them. Now,
You
me
do
and Kinley,
is that the guy
go
you
ahead.
do the flooring with?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I don't really, I don't feel like, I feel like he can get a better helper for what he pays me, you know? Like he's just looking out for me. Like just here, you want to do something, go do this. So cool. Like, but I talk to him every day, and every time I talk to him, he gets upset about Kinley, and he gets upset that Kinley wants the job done cheaper. And it's like, I don't think you understand that's Kinley's job, like, is to get it cheaper. If he
Yeah.
doesn't get it cheaper, I don't make money. And then he was bitching because Kinley didn't show up at Antelope and help them swing the hammer per se. And I was like, I don't want Kinley over here swinging the hammer. I need him out
Yeah.
there making money. Like, and then he would say things like, well, I'm over here at Antelope, but I could be out there laying floor making money, and I can't make money for myself and do this house at the same time. And it's like, all right, so you want Kinley to come off of the money making activity so he can be over here so I can be broke too, you know? So my pipeline slows down, my funnel slows down. I was like, I don't want him over here. And I don't know.
Honestly, Lane sounds like a bad investor. So this happens often that the person who's like swinging the hammer gets upset that the other person is quote unquote sitting on their ass.
But we would have never. So the way I feel is Kinley brought all of us this up. Well, I found the house. Kinley
Yep.
got it under contract. We raised the private
Yep.
capital. This
Yep.
opportunity would not exist if it wasn't for me and Kinley. And then
I
Kinley was like,
agree.
hey, y'all want to flip a house? Y'all want to flip a house so bad? I got an opportunity for you. We'll provide all the funding. And all you got to do
Yeah.
is do the work. And you're going to make half of it. So it seemed like a
Yeah.
pretty sweet deal because I don't have to manage the project. I don't have to go over there, which I fucking did. I don't have to manage contractors, which I fucking did. And they're going to take care of all of it. And I'm going to make half the money on the back end. And we're not going to have to deal with it. That's going to be their responsibility. On the upfront, I wasn't involved in the negotiations with Lane and with Mike. And what they're saying for like a full rehab, like they did on that house, is supposed to be $60 a square foot. And it's a 3,000 square foot house. So they're saying that it's $180,000 flip, but they did it for 75,000 is what
No,
they're
they didn't do it for 175,000 because right now they're at 67,000 for materials alone, according to what you told me. And then on top of it, their partner split is 60%. is 60,000 right now, is what we're estimating. So they did it at 127,000.
Yeah, but they're saying that it should have cost $60 a square foot, and that extra money that was charged for the flip was in labor, and they didn't get paid for the labor. That's what they're saying.
I honestly, they sound like they've never invested before. It sounds like he wants his money. And he feels like because he had to wait so long to get his money, that he should be getting more of it. But the answer is you can't just renegotiate because you're unhappy with, like you made a commitment to somebody. Like let's say you're getting married to somebody, right? You don't think of all the little fights you're going to have with somebody, but they happen. It's part of it, right? Now, if he wants to get divorced from you over this, that's fine, but it's par for the course. You know what I mean? Like this is just the nature of the beast. You don't get paid until the back end. The better you do, the better you do on the back end. Right now, I can tell you that he's technically taking profit from you because instead of sticking with the 35,000, he's into it for more than that, almost double. There's an extra 35,000 that they spent.
Okay, well, you saying that just leads me to believe that Kinley is absolutely right about everything he's been saying, and he has a right to be defensive. And me trying to see things from Lane's perspective, I'm wrong, and Kinley's right. So
I,
I'll
I
take
wouldn't
that.
call it I wouldn't call it right and wrong, but I would tell you like Lane has never invested before. This was a good investment for him to make on it. At the end of the day, 6 months were so right now he's getting paid out as a partner and he's looking to make up he's they're gonna make something close to about 60,000, right? And there's two of them.
Yeah.
There's the father and the son. So essentially the way that they're looking at it or the way that you could frame it for them is they did their first flip. They learned a lot, right? What it takes, how they, like Kenley being up his butt and being like, you need to do it cheaper, you need to do it cheaper. That's not a bad thing because if these guys cost a lot of money or, you know what I mean? Like they should be hiring somebody cheap to get it done faster. All those things would be better. But I can tell you right now, like if they're making 60,000 between the two guys, how long has the flip been? It's like 4 months.
So the flip has technically been 8 months, and there was an issue with the credit funding on the upfront. I don't know all the details of that, but I know they were at the property for it took them 3 months to flip it. That's it. The other stuff doesn't matter because they weren't in there touching it.
Okay, so if they weren't in there touching and it was 3 months and they're getting paid 60,000 split between the two of them, then essentially they're making $10,000 a month doing this flip.
Yeah. And you're saying $10,000 a month, but they weren't in there every single fucking day. They're both contractors. So his dad does tile, which he does a great job. Lane does
Yep.
floors. He's very great. Recommend him. I wouldn't recommend anybody else because he's so meticulous and he has a lot of integrity. Very good contractors. So
Yeah.
they were doing contracting jobs simultaneously while they were doing antelope. And
Yeah.
Lane took on another flip that he purchased. Me and Kinley wholesaled him another flip, and he talked to a realtor. The realtor told him it was a good deal. We talked to a realtor. The realtor said that Lane had a good deal. We wanted to help Lane out, so what we did was we could have made $6,000 more in profit, but we said no. We're going to sell it to Lane because it's a good deal. So we made less money by selling it to Lane, and now Lane's in that flip, and it got to be demoed, and it got to be demoed, but he was spread so thin between laying floor, flipping antelope, and then he has this Connecticut deal in his lap that he's stressed the fuck out.
Yeah.
And as a result of him being stressed out, him and his girlfriend, he didn't have time for his girlfriend. They ended up splitting up for 3 weeks, and he's blaming that on Kinley as well.
Well, sounds like Lane is not an adult.
Well, all right, Kinley.
He's having adult problems and he's trying to blame everything on Kenley and that's not it. Kenley is
Well,
decent for wanting to return a portion of the profits to him to make his friend a little bit more happy. But at the end of the day, Lane just sounds out of control. He made some bad choices rather than stepping up and eating shit, right? So he's in a situation that he doesn't like. And sorry, you can't renegotiate just because you fucked up. That's part of a partnership. And clearly he's not very good at partnerships because he and his girlfriend broke up for 3 weeks. So,
God damn. Throwing salt on a wound, huh?
I mean, bro, look at it. I mean, he seems like, okay, not for nothing. It's hard. This part is hard. He's probably stretched thin. He probably can't pay his bills, right? Or he feels like he can't pay his bills. Why? I don't know, because he has 52,000 on business credit. If he did his business credit correctly, he doesn't have to pay interest on it for about 18 months. He can make minimum payments on that, so that should be cheap AF. But I also understand that he's probably cash poor right now because he's been in this project, not every day, obviously, but in this project, and he doesn't make his money until it gets sold, right?
Yeah.
So, but he knows that because he's bought other deals from you.
So here's another, I guess to add more to it.
Yeah, add
Whenever we
more.
got that, whenever we got that $15,000 and we gave it to Lane, I told him to give me something itemized so I know what he spent the money on. But as soon as he
Yeah,
got the money, he took $5,000 out of it and he put that money down on a new truck. Now he took the money from something else and put it back in. But you got to think, Suzanne, he's having these issues with managing money, and then he goes and buys a new truck and adds a payment. In
yeah.
the middle of this, him and his girlfriend break up. They still don't live together, but he still lives in that house. So they're not splitting any type of bills. So his bills increase dramatically while he's in the middle of this. So I
Okay,
think
so
whenever you're saying,
what are the lessons that you're learning with Lane?
I need to find a better contractor.
That's one. Yeah, Lane is not it. And that's okay. Lane might just be a friend. Lane might be a guy that you do floors with. Lane might be a guy whose father-in-law that you call to do tile work. But Lane might not be a partner to work with. He clearly, from where I stand and from where you stand, it seems, doesn't make good financial choices. And clearly, he's blown through a $35,000 rehab budget. No offense, but if he was doing other projects, how do you know that he's not spending your money on his other projects, trying to bankroll it that way? How do you know that he ran out of 35,000 on your house, came for an extra 15,000, came for an extra 12,000? How do you know that all the material is going into your house?
That's another thing as well, is in the beginning of this, I created a spreadsheet. I got with Lane and I was like, hey, I need to stay on top of the financials for this. That way it doesn't get out of control. And I felt like I haven't mentioned it to him, so it's my fault, but I felt like I got blatantly disregarded. But
Yeah.
if he is argumentative about it, I still have a Google Drive that's shared with Kinley and Lane, and it has an expense report in there that he has access to that he was supposed to fill out that he never did.
I promise you, nobody's ever going to do that. That shit sucks. So that's the stuff that even like on my houses in the beginning, I kind of I keep tabs on things, but then at the end, it's just such a shit show. And in all honesty, if he is taking over, if he's doing other jobs and other flips at the same time, for him to figure out, like when you go to the store, you're not going to buy like, I got 3 tomatoes for you, and then I got 5 cucumbers for him, and then I got, 6 onions for this guy. You're not going to do 3 separate transactions and then itemize your receipts. You're just going to put it all on one shopping trip and run it, right? So
Yeah, and
he
what all
go
he was
ahead.
supposed to do is take a picture of the receipt for the materials or the invoices, drop it in Google Drive, and I was going to do the rest. That's all he had to do.
So here's what I can tell you. Depending upon where he shops, whether it's Home Depot or Lowe's, you can get his sign and information, and it'll show you every single job that he ever touched. It's all digitized anyway. So if he doesn't want to give it to you that way, and if you're like, listen, I need some transparency to see how the fuck we blew through 35,000. Number one, I can tell you right now, he blew through it probably bankrolling other projects the same way that he did his whole truck thing.
I don't know what other projects he had to where what he'd be bankrolling because
Again,
it,
he's
the
not at your
other
job every day. He's not at your job every day. He was doing other jobs, and then he also bought a flip.
so the materials for the other jobs that he does are purchased by by the homeowner or by the contractor. So I don't know how he would have
Okay.
bankrolled something, but that's just stuff that I know about. If
Yeah.
he's doing that, he's not gonna fucking tell me, right? So
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind is usually a contractor gets a deposit from the homeowner. The deposit is supposed to pay for the materials. Halfway through, you forget things, you break things, you need more of this stuff, surprises happen, you need to go out and get more stuff, all those things. All those little things, accoutrements add up, right? I'm not saying that they took over, but I'm just saying like his commingling is not nice. The fact that he takes out 5,000 to bankroll something else is not a good move. You're supposed to have a separate business account. Like let's say all the business flipping expenses should be coming out of one account. They should be coming out of one account that's itemized for just that stuff or is controlled for just that stuff. So a couple of things you can do differently depending upon where he shops. The whole business credit is pretty cool. um I don't know. That's another layer of stuff. But the way that I do it is I actually get a credit card for my contractor and I have them run it so I can see everything when I log into Lowe's immediately.
And I guess whenever they run low on funds, you can just do a transfer,
What
right? Is that
transfer?
like, let's say it's a $20,000 credit card. If they run it up to 20,000, you can just do a balance transfer and then it's free and clear again, right?
Yeah, but you pay a fee on the balance transfer. It's about 3%. When you transfer it over, you also have to open up a new line of credit to be able to do that. But what I'm saying is like, so it's on my account. So I have a business account for like 25,000 and then I give him a credit card so that because I hate when they go out and get stuff, they're just buying stuff left and right and I never see the receipts on it ever. You can ask for it, you will never get it. So the way that I like to do it is for him to buy it right on my account and then I review every receipt as it comes in.
Yeah.
But
So
the
on
problem
where
with
I made
that,
a mistake was expecting too much out of them on that.
you expecting too much, honestly, that kind of expectation is unreal. Nobody's going to do that for you unless they're me, and even me, I wouldn't do that for you. Not because I don't
Wow.
want to, but because like life takes over. Listen, I try to do
Yeah.
it for myself. It's a lot of fucking work. Every day figuring out all the receipts, trying to back it up, and I only know this because I ended up having to do it for Z stuff. Even then, going to court and having to justify or come up or generate some sort of invoice or receipt for every purchase, it's really annoying.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think if I'm missing out on anything else.
No, I think I
So
think I think you're good.
what Lane was saying on the upfront is he thought that we were going to keep the project and then it turned into a flip. And Kinley says that I didn't want to do a full rehab like this. I just wanted to do a wholesale deal.
Hmm.
So it went from a flip to a wholesale to a full rehab. And Kinley's saying that they overflipped the project and they're
Yeah,
saying that Kinley's super fucking cheap because they quote unquote overflipped it.
they don't understand.
And I think that Kinley, looking back on it, I don't think Kinley was being cheap. I think Kinley knew what the budget was and he's seen that they were burning through the money.
Well, I don't know why you guys didn't stop them. Once they burned through the 35,000, they should have justified what the hell they did with the 35,000. And if they asked for an additional 15, there should have been a plan for the additional 15. For them to go over an additional 12,000 in materials is a lot of fucking material.
I don't know what the fuck they spent that 15,000 on because Kinley asked me the same question that you asked me, but I asked Lane, how much money do you need and why do you need it? Tell me what you need it for. And then whenever he went through it, I was like, well, fuck, you told me that's all we needed. What happened? And then it was like he had a look of like he was dumbfounded, like, I don't know.
All right.
All in all, it's still a good fucking flip. Like I'm making money off of it. I'm not losing sleep over it. But I'm Lane's friend and I'm Kinley's friend, and I've heard both sides of their stories. Kinley's feelings are really hurt for what Lane's been saying about him, and Lane's really upset with Kinley. And it's like I talked to Lane for 2 hours yesterday, and I talked to Kinley for 2 hours today. I don't want to fucking talk about it with them no more. They need to figure it out themselves. I don't give a fuck anymore. Well, I do care, and that's what the issue is. I care too much, and it's like bugging the shit out of me.
Hmm.
So I
You're
don't fucking
fine.
know.
Honestly, it sounds like two people that just don't. So I understand Ken Lee. right? They probably did over improve the house because they don't understand. Honestly, they must have over improved it because once you start to touch something, you can go balls to the wall, sky's the limit. And so you kind of need a partner to tell you like, don't. You don't need to do that. That's way too much. That's too expensive. So part of me says that maybe Kenley should have been a little bit more involved in helping make the decisions because clearly it seems like Lane doesn't know how to make good decisions.
So Kinley told Lane and his father, do not rip out those cabinets, to sand them down and to paint them. And they ripped out the cabinets and put new ones in there. And Kinley said after that, he's like, I just let it go because they weren't listening to me anyways.
No, shame on Kenley. He should have stayed on top of them.
Yeah, and I don't think,
Even
well, Kinley,
even if they're not listening doesn't mean he doesn't say because again, he's a partner in the deal. If these guys are going to burn through their entire rehab budget that then eats into the profits, then Kenley makes no money on it. That's stupid.
and then another thing is we promised the listing to a guy named Barry, and Lane's girlfriend is a realtor. She called Kinley huffing and puffing, and Kinley ended up letting her list the property.
No.
So she's getting 3% as well.
You know, I made that mistake, right? That I hired a girlfriend to be my listing agent on Andover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a terrible mistake. I went back. So she got me in her best effort, 760,000 for that house. I sold that house for $65,000 more than she got me. And I'm so glad that I made the tough choice to do that because it was embarrassing. Listen, I lose a friend. Now I got to explain to people why she and I are not working together, right? It's just a mess. I got to hold the property for an extra 2 months. I think I lost like 12,000 in just holding costs alone for 2 months while I take the house down and relist it with somebody else. But it is so important that whenever you list a property, that you literally interview the listing agent on it.
Well, we were supposed to go with the guy who really sells houses in the neighborhood,
You
which
got
is
to
Devin
interview
Forbes.
all of them.
Devin's a really good realtor. And then Barry Ratliff is who we usually use. But because Lane and Mike were half partners on it and they have a say so too, and Kaylin's a decent realtor, they wanted to go with her. Kinley, I think Kinley's kind of, it's going to fuck us in the end, but I think Kinley's not arguing with them anymore. That way they can't come back and say, oh, well, you didn't let Kaylin list the property and now your buddy's going to make money off of it. But I think he's letting her list it so it's on the market longer so he can be like, I told you so. And then like Lane, so we owe Lane money essentially on Antelope now, right? Quote unquote, because they put their own money into it. And they asked Kinley what he thinks, and Kinley was like, well, I don't care. If you want to wait a couple more months on market, it's going to cost us a little bit more in holding costs, and it's going to take a little bit longer to get the money. He's like, I don't really care. I don't need the money. And then Lane didn't say anything, but when I talked to Lane yesterday, he's like, oh, Kinley owes me X, Y, Z, and he's saying he don't need the fucking money. If he don't need the fucking money, why don't he fucking pay me? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't think he said that as in he doesn't owe you money. I think he was just saying that way there was no confrontation,
Right.
because it doesn't sound like he really wanted to do that. He was just going with it.
If you have to translate all of that for Lane, how old is Lane?
27.
Dude, like grow up already. That's embarrassing.
Okay. Yeah, you sound like Kinley, so I'm trying to see it from both their sides. I mean, essentially what I told Kinley earlier was like, hey, maybe you're right and Lane's wrong and we just don't need to do business with him anymore. Because whenever I told Kinley, I was like, I think I know who's right and I think I know who's wrong. And he's like, well, why do you say that? I was like, well, it sounds like it's bothering you more than it's bothering him, because you're asking me questions about how you can do better, what you can do better. And, you're asking me his perspective and how I think he feels and what I think he should do better next time. And I was like, Lane hasn't done nothing but bitch about you the whole time, and I can't get a word in because he doesn't want to hear it.
Mm.
So I think that's the answer.
So originally you thought the answer just based on that was Lane is wrong.
No, I thought there's three sides to the story. Lane side, Kinley side, and what's actually going on. So it's like
Yeah.
maybe they both have points. And then they're calling Kinley cheap, right? They're joking.
Mhm.
So I'm joking with them, calling Kinley cheap, saying, "Oh, he doesn't want to put new floors in. He just wants to paint the carpet." And they're laughing, right?
Mhm.
Well, me being funny, trying to joke, I'm probably further validating how they feel by doing that. And all I'm doing is just trying to joke with them, because I'm Kinley's
Yeah.
partner. But it's like, yeah, Kinley is my partner, but he's my partner for a reason. It's so he save fucking money.
Not only about saving money, but you have to understand the balance. Like if you have an exit strategy. So I have one of those calculators that I made for like if we just trashed it out, how much we would make. If we did something called the fluff and buff, which is like trashed it out and cleaned it, trashed it out, cleaned it, painted it, trash, clean, paint, and siding, trash, clean, paint, siding, and like extra doohickeys, like new fixtures, new faucets, all that like final and shiny stuff, right? So depending upon your exit strategy, you can make certain kinds of money on the back end, and going all the way doesn't always pay off because you got to hold it longer, you got to spend more money on rehab and blah blah blah. So in all honesty, I feel like Kenley has a good head on his shoulders, with the exception of the way that you guys borrow fucking money. You guys spend way too much money on that. Lane sounds like he doesn't know how to he doesn't know how to be a good partner, or he's just being jealous of the fact that he's in the trenches and Kenley isn't. That's par for the course. Somebody's going to be in the trenches, and that's the role that he signed up for, is trench role. So why is he angry about it? That's his business. Lane sounds really immature. And
Okay.
Lane sounds like he doesn't deserve to have future working opportunities with you guys.
Yeah, because I mean, if all the funding would have been available and they would have got this knocked out in 3 months and they would have been there every day, I think they probably could have done it in 2 months. Um, 2 months, $60,000 isn't that bad. And if they would have stayed on par with budget, we could have made more than that.
So a couple of things. Number one, go all the way. I don't even know. Go all the way back. Let's do the easy one. The easy one is you always repeat after me. Always, always, always repeat
Always,
after
always,
me.
always. I am.
Interview
Always, always, always interview.
the best fucking agents for that town.
The best fucking agents for that town.
How many agents do you think you should interview before you pick one?
As many as I can.
No, five.
Not the new ones. Not the new ones, but like.
So this is what I do. I have these questions on my Instagram because I was not happy with my friend. A great agent is always worth their weight. They're going to get you like a cash deal. They're going to get you no seller concessions. They're going to argue for this, argue for that. They're going to get you the best deal. So right now the property is on the market and it hasn't sold. Is that correct?
Yeah, but it's been on the market for less than a week.
Okay, that's fine. Um, this chick, I can again go back to my example. I'm in the hottest zip code ever. You cannot get into this zip code unless somebody dies. Okay,
Yeah.
760 is what she got me, and I sold for 825. If I had continued with her, I would be $65,000 less. And I promise you, I didn't realize this until I wouldn't have been able to pay off any of my credit cards. I would have been in debt had I sold with my friend. And trust me, I didn't want to not sell with her because now we're not friends anymore. Always, always, always interview your agents. I interviewed the best agents that Andover had to offer. And I got great ideas from some of them. Some of them say they don't even host open houses because the house sells during private showings. I had somebody else say that every single private showing they do is accompanied, which means they are there at the private showing. They don't just let the agents go and show the house by themselves. They sell the house at the private showing. So like little things like that. And I got advice. So like a month before you're ready to list, I got advice where I was like, do I need to pour the concrete for the foundation? Do I need to put gutters in? Do I need to, have loam out there on the front yard? And I get great feedback from them where they're like, you have to do this, you don't need to do this. You have to do this, you don't need to do this. I can explain a dirt basement, you don't need to pour concrete, right? That saved me $10,000 right there. And I'll be honest, I didn't have $10,000 to spend. So it would have been really awkward if I needed to pour a concrete basement. So I'm telling you, an agent is worth their weight in gold. They will get you the quickest, fastest, best everything when it comes time. So first and foremost, you always interview. I don't care if they're your friend. I don't care if it's the guy that you always go with. You always interview them. It's called a listing appointment interview. That's one. Number two, you need better lending. Your flat fee stuff is garbage. You guys clearly make good money. If you want to throw away money and burn it, that's your business. But you are not spending money the way that you're borrowing money right now. It's terrible.
I'm uh I'm writing down notes and sending them to Kinley. So if he can't see me,
No,
that's what I'm doing.
I'm writing down notes. I'm going to text you after. And then on top of
Okay.
it, Zoom does like a summary, so it's going to summarize it too. So two, better financing. Number three, Kenley is wrong because Kenley gave up. Kenley sounds
Okay.
honestly like super emotional to me. He's willing to walk away from all the profit on the house because he thinks he's not going to be friends with Lane anymore. Are you joking me? And then on top of it, he stopped pushing back with Lane and the dad because they weren't listening to him. And then it just ended up being a total shit show. Kenley, as a partner, should not have given up. Kenley should have always expressed his opinion and always advised him because clearly Kenley knows more than they do. So Kenley is wrong for taking his foot off the pedal. Kenley is wrong for giving up. Kenley is wrong for taking a back seat. Kenley is wrong for being quiet.
Okay.
Hang on.
I'm listening. You got my attention, ma'am.
I gotcha. I'm just writing it down. Number 4, Lane. Red flag galore, that boy. Red flag roller coaster. Like ups and downs, terrible. He doesn't understand the value of the partners that he's with because if he did, he wouldn't be bitching and moaning like he is. He doesn't understand that he gets paid at the end. He clearly makes bad choices when it comes to spending money. And you guys just gave him like a credit card and told him to go buck wild. And essentially he did. He's clearly not organized with money because he shouldn't be spending truck money out of your pocket. And that's exactly what he did. If he did that with your money, I promise you he was spending your money on other projects and then in his head thinking that he's going to reimburse your account. Whether or not that happened, I don't know. All I know is you went from a 35,000 material budget to twice as much. He overspent by an additional 30,000. That
35.
is reckless.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lane is a red flag because he doesn't understand. He's not organized. Already you know that he's commingling funds. There's one other thing that I'm forgetting. So he doesn't understand, which is why he's bitching. Oh, the last thing that I'll say, and I think this might be the biggest red flag of all, which is why you should not be working with him on future deals. Lane doesn't seem like a problem solver. He seems like a bitch and moan kind of guy.
Yeah, Kinley can't stand those kind of people. And I was like that a lot in the beginning, and I got fixed out of that very quickly.
Anybody can bitch and moan. When you're leading something or you're organizing something, if you have a problem with it, that's fine that you have a problem. But if you cannot suggest a better outcome, then no offense, you need to shut the fuck up. Unless we're having a sit down where it's like, hey, everybody, let's talk about what's wrong and let's try to fix it together. If he wants to bitch and moan, You can bitch and moan as much as you want, but you better have a better solution. And if you don't, then you sit down.
So another thing that Kinley didn't, so Lane's good friends with Kinley. He knows Sarah. He
Uh-huh.
knows we have another mutual friend named Lance, and then me, of course. So we all mutually know Kinley. He hasn't went to Kinley about these problems. He's talked shit about Kinley to Sarah. He's talked shit
Hmm.
about Kinley to Lance, and he's talked shit about Kinley to me. And that's what's really bothering Kinley.
Well, Kenley is too emotional. He already gave up. He seemed, I hate to say this because it's like derogatory towards women, but he sounds like a big pussy.
He's really not though. I think he cares a lot about the friendship, and he doesn't. I think
He
the biggest
cares.
issue is we tried to do business with a friend, and it's not me
Yeah.
because
Um,
I don't know. He's pretty stern on me. I ain't gonna lie.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. In all honesty, Kenley sounds like a big pussy. If he's upset about the relationship with Lane, that would be fine if Lane was like a high quality person, right? But it
He
seems
is
like,
high quality though. He's a good contractor. He has a lot of integrity. He did not
okay,
give up, and he finished the job. So he is high quality. It's all the other shit.
he did not give up. But I don't know, though. Honestly, you say integrity, but I'm watching him spend money, and he doesn't seem like he has integrity.
He just Lane always does the right thing no matter what. It's just how he's treating Kinley is the problem.
Mm.
But I'm trying to get an outside perspective to see if Lane and Mike's opinions are validated. Now they sent me Mike and Lane have sent me very nice messages telling me how good I did and how much they appreciate me. But they're attacking Kinley, and I told them, I'm like, me and Kinley are the same person. I agree to his terms. I was like, y'all do all the work and I make the money. I'm fucking happy with that. We're providing value to you. You're providing value to us. Is how I'm feeling about it.
The
I say that point.
difference
Mhm.
difference is you were in the trenches with them one day. I don't know what it is. It's like blue collar versus white collar. Right now, Kenley's in a white collar position. They're in a blue collar position. People, for some reason, like think about it. If you're working on a group project and you have one person who never like comes to see you work, appreciates your work. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a love language where for me, I used to go to my job sites every day, ask my contractor what they want, ask them, you know, what's going on in their personal life that like maybe they need help with. Do they need to not come in tomorrow because, their kids in trouble at school and they need to go have a school meeting, whatever. They really appreciate somebody like you coming in working alongside them. And I feel like because Kenley didn't do that, he's very easy to target and just punch. But does Kenley deserve the punches he's taking? The answer is no. Lane doesn't have a good understanding as to what it takes to be a real estate partner. No offense, but Lane isn't really a good real estate partner. And half the shit he's complaining about was in his control, and he's taking it out on Kenley. So he seems like a shit partner. It is what it is.
God damn.
He might be a good contractor, but he sounds like a shit partner.
Those are my words right there. I said that he's a great contractor, but I don't think he should manage projects.
No. Uh, Managing projects may be one thing, but as a partner, he's like, he doesn't understand the role. He doesn't understand the partners that he's with, and he's almost being abusive to the partners that he's with. For him to try to renegotiate the contract because he didn't perform, he was the one that blew the budget. He was the one that didn't listen to Kenley. He made these mistakes, and now because he made these mistakes, he's trying to get Kenley to pay for it. Kenley is such a pussy, he's willing to forego the entire profit to save the relationship with Lane. But at the end of the day, Lane has proven himself not to be a quality partner to work with. So if he's going to lose his partnership relationship with Lane, great, set it on fire. Kenley might be mourning to a certain extent losing friendship with Lane, but at the end of the day, Kenley needs to also understand that he's probably just outgrowing a friend. He wanted to invite Lane into the opportunity to make money with him, and Lane is blowing it to smithereens. Lane isn't taking accountability for his shit. He's blaming Kenley for it. And Kenley's being a pussy and letting him do that instead of advocating for himself.
So he's not letting him do that. Lane is talking to everybody but Kinley. But Kinley sent him a message today. So, and
Again,
I told
go
Lane.
back
Mhm.
go back a little bit. Kenley stopped talking to them on the projects because Kenley felt like they weren't listening to him. I don't care what Kenley felt. It's still not an excuse for him to not show up and not participate in the flip the way that he was supposed to from the beginning. Things change, and I understand that, but unless it's a group decision where it's like, hey, Kenley, you need to get off the job site because you're problematic with all your opinions, that's one thing. But if he's just being self-conscious, thinking these guys aren't listening to me, so I'm going to sit my ass out, that was a bad move on Kenley's part. Kenley's being a little pussy. He's being a little bitch.
So I guess in your best words, we know what Kinley did wrong. What can he do better next time? What do you feel like?
Kenley gave up. That's his problem. He got emotional and he gave up because he was in his feelings about these guys are not listening to me. So I'm going to stop advising them. I'm going to stop bringing the value that I bring to this deal, which is my expertise on how to exit in a profitable way. He gave up. What he could have done better to have a better pulse on the project, especially like somebody like Lane, is he probably needs to be on the job site maybe once a week, checking in with them to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Kinley's not doing that anymore. Kinley's out of that. He's gonna do acquisitions and he's gonna find private money, and I'm gonna do that stuff from now on because
So,
I think we
so
both feel
here,
like I'm better at that.
So here's what I'll tell you. Like, if he's going to do acquisitions and private money, I still think he should go to the job site, kind of like a politician, go to the job site, show his face a little, and just make a recording and like, what is it? Like, do the social media for you guys. Show people like, this is what we're doing. You know, we borrowed 200,000 from our lenders. This is how we're spending it. If his job is to raise money, then he needs to show how he's spending the money that he's raising. So have him go to the job site, do the social media very quickly, but he needs a little bit of FaceTime with the contractors because I think Kenley lost the entire pulse on the project because he gave up and was being a little bitch and pussed out.
I think that's how I'm dealing with it better because even on Spanish Oak, like the whole demo, I went and checked on them every day. I bought them lunch. I went and got them water, asked them if they needed anything.
Yeah.
Um, Aaron, he's the contractor, the head guy over all that. He did demo the
Mm,
house. He finished the job. He underbid himself. He wanted 8,000. Kinley talked him down to 6,000, and he accepted it. But he wants more money. And about a weekend, I told Kinley Aaron's going to ask for more money. He's like, "Why did he ask you?" And I said, "He didn't ask me, but I can just tell. I got a gut feeling because I think he
yeah.
underbid this." And now Aaron is asking for more money, but he didn't stop the project and ask for more money. He finished it and asked me for more money.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's right and what's wrong in that situation? Did he underbid
Well,
himself and now he has to bite it, or am I going to take care of him?
if you can take care of him, you take care. So this is a rule that I have with my contractor. So the way that so Giovanni is mine. And he
Yeah,
has one worker, Alejandro. And so the way that I did it is I said, listen, if I go out to the market and I hire anybody, it's $25 an hour for unskilled labor. That's like landscape, trash out, demo, nothing special, $25 an hour. Giovanni is licensed. He knows what he's doing. He can create a plan. He can solve things. And he's the one that instructs Alejandro, right? So I pay
yeah.
him double. If I pay Alejandro $25 an hour, then Alejandro at the end of the year is making about 50 grand under the table. He doesn't pay taxes on it because I pay them straight cash every single week. The second one is Giovanni. If I pay Giovanni double and he's making $50 an hour to, run the job site and make sure that Alejandro is working and feed him work and instruct him, coach him, fix him, blah, 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 he's making $100,000 a year, which is a very good salary, right? Because the other thing that I do for them is I make sure that they don't have to think. He doesn't think about like having to go to Lowe's and pick up the material. I order everything online. It costs me $20 to have it delivered to the house. He just has to show up to the house and put the material in. So if he's not running back and forth to Home Depot, picking up stuff, paying on his own credit card, I take care of all that stuff. All he has to do is he's essentially coming to work a labor job and he makes $100,000 a year working with me. That's a very nice job for him to have because the opposite or the other side of the spectrum is he goes out, he bids a job with some homeowner, He has to work on and their home. He has to clean up to their standard because they live in the property while he's flipping it, right? Deal with them, all the things that he has to do, and he makes X amount of money if he bid the job right. So what I would tell you is go back to your guy. If you like the work that he did and maybe his numbers are just off, you need to revisit his numbers. So what it ends up being is whatever the materials are, I pay for the materials because that shit's mine. But when it comes to labor, I'm spending $25 an hour for unskilled and then $50 an hour for my GC. But my GC is actually pretty cheap because I give him such a volume of work. So the ranges are 25 for unskilled, 35 to 45 for skilled and unlicensed, 55 to 65 for skilled and licensed.
So he managed the demo of the house. He wanted 8,000. Kinley told him the budget was 6,000, and I think that extra 2,000 was for the roll-offs. So he ate the cost of the roll-offs, and then he ended up paying labor out too. So that was his cost, was labor and the roll-offs.
So I a couple of things. I pay for my own dumpsters. My dumpsters are kind of like the materials. And then labor, I'm paying him X amount of money to get the job done. If he wants to hire people underneath him, that's his business. So if he wants to hire 10 people for 1 hour, that's his business. If he wants to hire one person for 10 hours, that's his business. I don't care how he does it. I'm giving him X amount of money to get the job done. Do you know how many days it took him to do it?
I back of the envelope, 10-ish. It took him
10?
2 weeks. Yeah, it took him 2 weeks, and I'm not including the weekends, so I'll say 10 or 11 days.
So if it was 10 days, $6,000, then every day it's about $600 worth he's making. An average person, if they're making $300 a day, that's a good salary for them. So if it was him and one other guy or him and two other guys, he could still make money that way. He needs to understand like he makes money and yeah, he
And he
makes
was
money.
paying
That's
his
it.
guys, the guys over there, 150 or 125 a day.
Yeah. So if he
So
he's he is profiting right now $6,000 a day, right? Because if he wait, he it was
600.
6,000, then he paid 2,000 for the roll off.
No, he didn't pay. He said that's how much. He said that's how much he was bidding, but I think it took around 7 roll-offs, and they were $300 a piece because he got a good deal. So I
Ah,
would
that's
say
cheap.
21. He had a good deal. He has a lot of good. He did. If you look at the pictures for Antelope, he did the front yard of Antelope for fucking $700. That
I
flip.
would I would take care of him. So because a couple of things. Number one, he saves you money on the dumpsters. I spend $1,000 for a 30-yard dumpster.
Yeah, we usually spend about 500, so he did save us about $200 a dumpster.
Which is great because that shit adds up. So number one, he saves you. His labor is cheap, 125 a day. That's a great labor day. That is. That's less than $25. That's like 6 hours at $20 each. That's
I
cheap.
yeah, he wants 2,000. He wants 2,000, but I told Kinley I wanted to give him a bonus at the end of it of about a grand anyways. So I'm thinking about paying him 1,500. So instead of the 2,000, just meet in the middle.
Yeah. Um,
But he did
he's
such a great job on, like, he did the yard and he did the demo of that house for $8,700. And my lowest bid for that was $12,000 from other people. So it's like,
so I would go back and take care of him. The way that I do it again is if he did 7 dumpsters at 300 each, that's 2,100. And then on top of that, his labor. So you paid him labor wise, what, 4,000 because you gave him 6,000 so far?
yeah, so I would say 2,100. So 3,900 is what he would have left over, and then spread over 10 days. I would say on average,
That's
maybe
that's
three,
300, that's 390 a day. And then he had two workers at 125 each, right?
yeah, 100, maybe I would say 3 workers on average. Let me pull out my calculator.
No, three workers is 375 then. Then
I
he,
don't know.
he
Yeah.
he only made $15 a day is what he made. Did he
Okay.
work?
The last day he went in there and finished it himself because he said, "Hey, I'm gonna finish this job even if y'all don't give me any more money because that's what I agreed." And it's just like, man, like fuck, dude, quit being so nice.
Honestly, this is what I'll tell you. If you gave him 6,000 for labor, okay, and that was over the course of 10 days, that means every day he's making $600. If he had one guy working, if he had two guys working with him, that's 250 a day, which means he was taking home 350. That's pretty decent for him. If he hired another worker, that's he's taking $125 less, then he's making 225 a day. Those numbers are still good. They're not great because like my guy Giovanni, he's making what $400 a day, but he's a skilled carpenter, right? So your guy is making anywhere from 350 to 225 a day when he's making 6,000. In all honesty, I would pay him 2,100. I would pay for the dumpsters.
2,100.
Yeah, I would pay 20. If he's asking you more money, it's honestly, it's fair for him to make 2,100. Because again, I pay for the materials. If the materials are a fixed cost, like a dumpster, and he's getting you the dumpsters at a discount, right? At 7 dumpsters and he's saving you $200 on each dumpster, you guys save $1,400 right there. But if he's the reason why you're saving $1,400, you should give a little bit of that money to him. Anyway, the way that I think of it is that if he spent 2,100 on dumpsters, you pay for the dumpsters. If you gave him $6,000 so far and it took him like 2 weeks and or 10 days, that's $600 a day that he's earning. If he had two workers with him at 125 a piece, that would have cost him 250, which means he's walking away with 350 every single day. But hopefully he was working on those days too.
Yeah.
If he hired three guys, because you said sometimes it's three guys, then technically he's making 225 a day, which is less. Hopefully he's not working on those days. Either
He
or.
he didn't work every single day. He
Okay.
wasn't there
Well,
every single day.
I'm just saying 6,000 for labor. 6,000 for labor. What I'm paying up here, is this the nasty demo, like the poop shit?
The cat house, yeah.
Girl, I pay more. When is
Girl.
when is that nasty? I pay more.
Oh hey.
And
Yeah,
I get them PPE stuff too.
yeah, he got them PPE stuff. Not only did he get them PPE stuff, he bought their lunch. He did a lot of shit that came out of his pocket. I mean, it's kind of his fault for doing that. They should be responsible for their own lunches, but he's being a good
No, no,
guy,
no,
you
no,
know?
no, 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 no. If he's paying them 125 a day, an unskilled labor here is $25 an hour. So if that was a 6 hour day, 6 hours at $25 an hour is $150. If he's paying them 125, he's saving you essentially $25 a day. And so if he's spending money on food, I promise you he's not spending $25 on food, maybe 15. So every day he's saving you about $10 per worker by
Yeah.
paying them 125 and then making them lunch.
Watch your step. Yeah. And I mean, they went above and beyond on that demo. I'm not gonna lie.
Then you take care of them.
Like it's so nice in there, like you wouldn't believe it. They got rid of all the tile. They got the tile out, not just the what the fuck's that shit called? It's so old we don't use it, but I don't the stuff that you glue to the floor.
Thin set,
Is it laminate?
laminate, vinyl, LVP.
Vinyl?
Yeah,
It's that shit. Yeah, they got that up. They got the tile up.
that was
They
hard.
did. Yeah, I mean, they did. They ripped all the nails like out of the studs.
I would take honestly $6,000 for labor over the course of 2 weeks. That's a great price for labor alone. So if he's eating it because he paid for the dumpsters on top of that, I would tell you go back and pay for the dumpsters. Go back and pay him 2,100. And I wouldn't pay him at the end. I would go back and pay him now.
So I was like, why did you do it for so cheap? Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why'd you put yourself in that position? Because he's a young guy. And
Ugh.
just to get his perspective, right? I was like, why would you do that to yourself? I was like, I'm gonna take care of you. I was like, anybody else, they'd probably tell you that that's the price y'all agreed to, and you're fucked. I was like,
You
I
you
don't
don't
care
you
about
don't have to you don't have to ask that. If based on his performance, based on the agreement that you made and based on his performance, that's everything that you need to know. The same way that you had an agreement with Lane and Lane is blowing it up at the 11th hour. And then his etiquette, his behavior along the way is crap. You know what I mean? So having a guy asking him, why did you do it for so cheap? Why did you do that? That's not a great question. He did it because he made an agreement with you and he executed on that agreement. That is respectable.
it. He said that he was just trying to help us out. He said that's what Kinley said y'all had, so I was trying to do it in y'all's budget. He's young, and I was like, hey, don't do that. Like, don't ever sell yourself short again. I don't care who it is. I don't care if I ask you
Greg,
to
you're
bid a job again.
Greg, you're being dumb by saying that to him like that.
What am I supposed to do? Just keep like I feel like I'm fucking people over like that.
You're not, again, everybody will work for whatever price. He didn't have to hire the other guys to come help him. You said he wasn't there every single day. If Kenley tells you you have a budget, you don't go back and tell him why'd you do that. Essentially, you're calling the guy dumb for taking your job. That's what you're doing. You're insulting him at that point.
I'm
So what
not
you do,
insulting him. I'm trying to like
you
I'm really
are.
trying to give him he's young. Like I'm trying to give him
And
advice.
that
Like, hey bro.
and that's okay that he's young, but at the end of the day, it goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Because if you pay for this for a really shitty house, I pay more than $25 an hour because it is really gross. And if they did like work hard and I'm usually there monitoring them, then I'm going to pay them more than $25 an hour because it's gross and they're doing a good job. They're hustling. So
It's like
go back
the six
go back
mhm.
to your budget. Go back to your budget because if you did not hire this guy, you would have had to hire somebody else anywhere from like 25 to $35 an hour. Let's just say $30 an hour for easy math. $30 an hour times 3 guys a day times what? 6 hours, 6, 7 hours. And even then, we don't know if they're going to work, if they're going to hustle for the 6, 7 hours. So just for 6 hours, God, I don't want to do that math. 90 times 6, you're paying 540 a day. So 540 a day times 10 days, you would have spent $5,400 on another contractor if it was not that guy. 5,400 plus the dumpsters that you said were 2,100 plus you said that they cost you $200 more per dumpster is an extra 1,400. If you hired somebody else, you would have had spent $8,900 and you spent 6,000. Okay. So, number one, whenever somebody is good to you, you always say thank you, right? Always check in with them. How are you doing? If the guy's like, I honestly, I underbid the job, then go back to the numbers. If you hired somebody else, 3 guys for 6 hours a day for $30 a day, that's a very fair price. And then you bought your own damn dumpsters. They're not buying the dumpsters. You buy the dumpsters. And then you pay your price on the dumpster, which is $200 more per dumpster. You're spending $8,900. That's your budget for that. If that guy wants to do it cheaper for whatever reason, right? You don't know how he's going to do it. You don't know how hungry he's going to do it. You don't know how broke he is. Okay. If he wants to do the job for less, that's his business. If he can't negotiate for more, that's his business, but he's going to learn along the way. You always thank him for his hard work and you go back to the drawing board. You need to know your numbers. Kenley, that's fine if Kenley wants to make up a number and be like, hey, somebody said they're going to do it for 3,000. That may or may not be true. If the guy wants to match the number, that's his business. It's good that the guy was hungry enough to want to work for you guys. At the end of the day, though, he's eating it a little bit too much. And if you want to go back to the drawing board and make things a little bit more even, then I would tell you pay for your dumpsters. There's no reason why
I
he should
think
be paying for labor and dumpsters.
I think he got over us on the yard because it took him 2 days to do it, and 20 he made 2,700 off that off the yard. So I think he got us on the yard, but we got him back on the demo. Is I
So what
think
do you
how
want to
Kinley
do?
sees it. I'm gonna take care of him because he did a good job. I got quoted. The lowest I got was
I know,
13. It
12,000.
was well, it was 12 and some change, so 13,000 on just the demo of the house. I didn't include the yard, right? And he cut down trees to haul the trees off. So,
That's
like
amazing. Trees are about
one
like
bit,
750 to 1,000 up here.
yeah, they're like that here too, but he did it, give me
He's
a
the kind
win.
of person that I would go and take care of.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I told Kinley it doesn't sit right with me that he's breaking even. And I was like, we should take care of him because he took care of us. That's all.
Yeah,
But
and
I did.
you want the relationship to last.
I did. I mean, he was still over there trying to do little shit. I was like, hey, dude. I was like, I already got a really big offer on this house on as is condition. I was like, just clean up this shit. I was like, you're done. Just chill.
Yeah.
You're good. And but I thanked him. I told him I appreciated it. I told him that I couldn't ask for a better contractor for that because he was diligent and did what he said he was going to do, and it looked great.
How'd you find him?
I went on Google and typed in lawn mowing service because I needed somebody to cut my yard. And when I
Damn.
called him, I was like, "Hey, dude, this yard's fucked up." I was like, "I don't know if you can do it." I was like, "But if you want to come check it out and you feel like you can," I was like, "You give me your bid and then I'll see if we can do it." He told me 2,700. Kinley said he felt like that was too much. I told him, "You say everything's too much because you want to negotiate." I was like, "Just let's just pay him what he's worth and see if he gets it done." He did it in 2 days, and I was like, "Hey, I need the inside of this house demoed. I don't know if y'all do that, but if you give me a bid, if you want to do it." He came back at 8,000. I was like, well, here's Kinley's number. Kinley got him down to 6,000, and that's how that worked out. And it took him a little bit longer than I anticipated. I thought it was going to take him about a week and a couple days, but it took him about 2 weeks to do it. So he went over a little bit than what I anticipated, but his budget was way under
Keep
I mean, what he charged
keep
was
in
way under what I
mind,
thought he was.
keep in mind you asked him to do something that he normally doesn't offer, right?
No, he did. He says that he doesn't usually do demos until the winter time because there's not a lot of lawn mowing work.
Right,
So
right, right.
that's what he said. And then he got another demo job with Lane, right? And then I got him another yard job for me and Kinley that he's making 4,200 off of. And then he mowed 2 yards that I just paid him 80 bucks on. So I'm giving him fucking work, right? I like the guy. I want to keep
Yeah.
him around. He's way better
I
than Lane. He doesn't
I
cry about
think you
Kinley.
need a you no, he's great. I like him. I think you need to standardize your pricing with him. I did the same thing with Giovanni because I was like, listen, if I'm trying to do a house, I don't want to have to come and ask you every single time to quote me. I want to have a general like idea of what things cost. So like for him to install a window is 200. For him to do a door is 500. For him to do stairs is, I don't know, like $50 a step sort of deal. And that's labor only. I pay for the materials, but he's also very good about like when he buys materials that he's not buying outrageous stuff. He gives me options. If there's a cheaper way to do it, cheaper or better material, he'll find it for me. So I like him, but I think you need to standardize your pricing with him. And that way you both can be on the same page. Everybody can be fair. It really shouldn't be that like he makes more money on this deal and then you do another deal because there's going to be a day where you guys stop working together. And so every deal needs to be fair and straightforward.
Yeah, I guess I can do the square footage of the last, because all he did was mow those yards. I guess I can do the square footage of those yards, take what he charged me, and I can get a roundabout idea of how much he charged per square foot, and just say, hey, this yard's about 800 square foot. This is what you charged me per square foot. I think this is what you should charge, and he can't argue with that because that's what he charged already, right? Or am I
Well, yes,
overthinking it?
no, I think you're a little bit overthinking. You got to consider that the way that they do their work is more about time, right? So if it takes them like an hour to do a lawn versus it takes them 15 minutes, it's it's a it's based on time. And so that's the way that I think about it is like I think about it as every day an unskilled labor work can make about $25 an hour. But if they're like traveling to your job site, anything that's over like a 30-minute drive for me, I try to pay them for that hour because I try to pay them for that time because they could be making money during that time and instead they're driving to my job site. So I usually do 30-minute travel time is included. And then once you're on site, I pay you $25 an hour.
I
Unskilled.
see. I see.
So
So if they're
them
there
as a
for eight
business,
hours, I make 200.
Yeah. And think about it, to be honest, I don't think those guys work 8 hours. I think they budget for more like 6 hours. You know, they I don't know. I just feel like they don't work an 8-hour day, especially when it's manual labor. So you get about 6 hours of worth of good work out of them. And you got to think about it from their perspective. They're trying to make like 125, 150 to up to $200 a day. That's a good day for them.
And Lane doesn't understand either. I guess like from my perspective, like yeah, I'm going over there and laying floor and I'm making money, but it's like I can go help my dad do an install of an AC because sometimes I'll go help him if he don't have nobody to help him and I want to go hang. My dad pays for my lunch. I hang out with my dad for the day, but I make $500 doing that, and it's probably 2 hours worth of work, you know. And then like if somebody wants a business consultation for me, it's $500 an hour, and people pay that like gladly.
Good.
So it's
Good.
like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I feel like I'm the bad guy too because my prices are fucking up and down too. You know, I think I'm worth more when I get paid, but you can't get paid too much for the job that you do either. You know, I can't expect $500 an hour to lay fucking floor.
Well, sometimes you put yourself on sale because maybe at the end of the day, like, so when you do your business consultations for $500 an hour, I think that's great. I think you should do even more. Go $1,000 an hour. There's Caleb Christopher. He doesn't even do. I think he pulls in about $1,000 per hour, but he sells his time in like 15-minute blocks. So he's like, book a 15-minute call with me. It's 250. Maybe we
I don't
don't
know
need him now.
nothing. I don't
Go
know
ahead.
enough about. I don't know enough about Caleb Christopher, but I heard good things about him. That's all.
He's awesome.
I don't know enough. I know he had a deal. He had a deal that one of my friends had a deal on. Had a she was trying to work, and I reached out to him. Well, I got her his contact information, and I guess he was treating her like she wanted a consultation, but she just wanted both of them to make money, and he wasn't trying to hear it. So she said he was kind of a dick, but I think it was just a miscommunication.
Honestly, he's really smart. So he was the person that started TC stuff before TC was even a thing. Because this was back in the beginning when Sub 2 was like so new. Nobody had all this paperwork, and he was really good at the paperwork. So he's known for having like he was in like software security systems. He left his job to create creative TC. That's his. And then he was so successful at it, and he ended up having some tension with Pace and with Pace's attorney, that Pace was like, I'm going to do my own in-house TC. And that's when he created Top Tier with Molly. But Caleb Christopher is the original. Caleb Christopher cares a lot. He's so freaking smart, and like you would like him a lot if ever you got a chance to spend with him. Your brain and his brain is very similar. Very methodical, very like logical, just matter of fact. Like, you guys are super good people, super smart, super good at what you do. But anyway, he charges $1,000 per hour. He sells his time in 15-minute blocks. I think you're worth that and then some, because the stuff that you can do, especially when it comes to finding people, is so next level. It's not even funny.
He says, let me see, 9 dumpsters, and then honestly, if I count the days we actually did work, it was about 14 to 15 days.
Yeah. So 14 to 15 days, I think he's making 450 a day. If you paid him
Give me one.
6,000, yep, yep.
Okay, what were you saying, Suzanne? I'm sorry.
I forget.
You forgot?
I
I said
forgot.
14 to 15 days and 9 dumpsters, and then you started doing numbers.
At the end of the day, based on my numbers, right? $30 an hour, three guys, and I only did 10 days. You would have been spending $8,900. So you saved money. Anything less than that, you're saving money. Um, yeah.
Okay.
14 to 15 days, 9 dumpsters. So 9 dumpsters at 300 is 2,700. 14 to 15 days, and then how many guys working a day?
I don't know how many guys are working today. I guess I got to ask him that.
Yeah.
I'll send him. He might respond quickly. He might not. How many guys per
I
day
I
on
hang on.
average?
Yeah. The
Hang
other
on,
thing
what?
that I'll do is, I'll send you my numbers, right? I think the only number we need to change is, yeah, 5,400 and then 2,700. 781. What? Yeah. I have 8,100. Oh.
Yeah, so that $8,000 was accurate.
Oh, technically no, hang on. 8,100 and then an extra 400 would
Whoa,
put me
whoa, quit adding shit on there.
9,800. 9,800. Because again, like I calculate it based on how much it would have cost you to buy the dumpsters yourself without his discount.
Yeah. And I guess
Yeah.
that's why that's why he came in a little bit lower than other people because he had that discount on the dumpsters. So he saved essentially, if there's 9 dumpsters, $300, $2,700. And if you're, yeah, yeah,
$2,700, that's his cost for the dumpster. But again, if you didn't have, if you got to think about it is if you lose
200
this
is one.
guy, if you lose this guy, then you got to go back to the market. And if you go back to the market, the way that I would have done it, the way that I would have budgeted, 3 guys a day, $30 an hour, for 10 days, get as much as you can get done. And if you can't, it is what it is. And 9 dumpsters at the price that you would have paid for the dumpsters, all in, it would have cost you $9,800 to do that clean out based on these numbers. Anything that's less than that, you are saving money on. If someone can do it better, faster, stronger with a discount, great. But that, if you lose this guy, then you're gonna expect to pay $9,800 for anybody else. And
Yeah.
that's a fair amount. Anyone who's less than that is discounting themselves. And if they want to do that, that's fine. But I'm saying you can't expect everyone to discount themselves. So if you pay a fair rate, you would have been looking at paying at 9,800 for that.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good explanation. I like that. It helps me understand it a lot better. So it does help me understand it a lot better, especially, I don't know, the way you help me put, I guess, Lane and Kinley into perspective. It was like Kinley reached out to Tyler Austin, the dude who created REI Sift. He does
Oh
flips too.
God.
And
Yeah.
Tyler pretty much tore Lane a new asshole. And I verbatim, word for word, told Mike exactly what Tyler said. And Mike said, if he was in front of me, I'd beat the fuck out of him. And
Oh God.
I was like, no, he's like a matter of fact guy. So he's not meaning it in the wrong way. He's just telling us how he feels from his perspective. And he wasn't trying
Right.
to hear it. And then Kinley reached out to Pace. Pace told Kinley that Lane was wrong. I just asked
Yeah.
Christian. Christian said that Lane was wrong. And I'm asking you, and you're saying that Lane was wrong. And
Red flag roller coaster, that boy.
red flag roller coaster.
Don't you ever do anything. Okay, maybe that's a little bit too dramatic, but don't met I no, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He doesn't have respect for his partners. And again, he's not solutions oriented. That's a terrible partner. Red flag. And then he spent commingling money over budget. Like the guy's a train wreck at this point. Broke up with his girlfriend, pressured you into hiring his girlfriend without an interview. That was bad. You're in trouble for that one.
I know I am, but I think Kinley's being, what's the word? Whenever you let somebody do something so they can fuck
Pussy.
themselves though. I don't know. I don't know what
Pussy.
Kinley's. No, he's not a pussy. He's just letting them do it on purpose so she fucks up and he could say I told you so.
Oh, he's setting
Yeah.
her up to fail.
Yeah, but I mean it's gonna hurt us in the long run, but
That's stupid.
uh I don't need the money, you know. To quote Kinley,
No,
I don't need the
listen.
money.
Kenley needs to get his shit together too, because that's not right. I mean, at this point, he's being very emotional. He's throwing away money to save a relationship that he shouldn't even be caring about. So Kenley's wrong. But Lance is definitely more wrong. And again, red flag roller
Lane.
coaster. Yeah, sorry, Lane. Red flag roller coaster. I would avoid that man like the plague.
So would you say that in this instance, do you think Kinley is being a bad businessman?
I think I think he needs to tighten ship big time. I do think he's being a bit bad businessman. I do.
Okay.
He's letting that girl take the listing. He got pressured into letting the girl have the listing. It at the end of the day, like you said, it's only going to hurt you guys by letting he essentially is he's letting them, Mike and Lane, walk all over him for no fucking good reason other than he feels really bad and that's why he's going to lay down and be a big pussy.
Yeah, you are helping me see this more than you know. I promise you that. I am so
Okay.
happy I reached out to you. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I really appreciate it.
Like
I understand it now.
the more I think about it, the more I think Kenley's doing a bad job. He let them walk all over him when it came to the rehab. He told them not to do the kitchen cabinets. They did it. And because of that, he allowed them to continue walking all over him to where they spent double the rehab budget. Okay. So he let them walk all over them. He let the girl list it, and it's going to hurt you guys at the end of the day. At the end of the day, he's like throwing things away where he's like, oh, I don't need the money. Who cares? You're involved in this. You need money. That's not responsible. He's being a big pussy, and I don't know why. He's being very emotional too.
It's
He needs
the
to watch
friend
that.
thing. It's the friend thing. Because I told today, I was like, "Are you busy so we can talk about this situation?" And he's like, "No, I'm cleaning." And then he instantly called me, and I was like, "What's wrong with you?" He goes, "Well, everything was peachy until you told me that stuff." He's like, "And now I'm having an existential crisis, and I want to make sure everything's all right." I was like, "Kinley, you do realize you just told me you were busy and then called me instantly?" He goes, "Yeah,
He
man."
probably felt guilty. He wanted to do what he wanted to do for himself, and then he's overthinking it, and he's worried about you, so he calls you.
Well, I told him, I was like, "You know how you feel right now?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's how I feel all the fucking time, man." I was like, "I'm not trying to throw a
Mhm.
pity party for myself." I was like, "But when I'm going through shit, I always feel like that." So I was like, "I'm not throwing it in your face or anything like that. I just want you to know that that's how I feel all the time. And that's what I deal with because you always tell me you don't understand and now you do." And he was
Yeah.
like, "Man, I'm so sorry." He was like, "I'm so sorry you go through this. It sucks." I was like, "Yeah, I know, but," I said, "It's not a big deal." I was like, "At least you only deal with it once." All right. But
I
I don't
do
know.
to a
It
certain extent,
sucks.
I kind of understand what he's going through because I did the same thing. I hired a friend to be my listing agent. It was bad. It was bad.
Man.
I didn't like it. I probably could have handled it better. Probably could have been more assertive. I wasn't. I remember I'm trying to find it now. I posted something in a group because I was having a hard time. I was having a really hard time with it because again, I had Z stole from me, and I had like two best friends. They were both guys. Both of them like wiped off the face of the earth. I was like, I'm not gonna mess with men anymore. I'm gonna just be like a powerhouse for women. And so I found this one girl, and I was like, you and me, let's be ride or die. Let's be two bad bitches and fuck up the world. And so the first chance that I had to offer her to make money, of course, I gave it to her. The day I bought the house, I called her and I was like, this is your listing. It's all yours. I didn't interview her at all. I just thought that like it's a hot market. I knew I was going to do a good job with the house. I thought everything was going to sell itself. No, no, it doesn't. Listen, the hottest market, the hottest house in the hottest market, and she got me 760, and my girl got me $65,000 more. I am so glad I did what I did, but it was awkward as fuck because everybody like the friends that I have are like a little bit on the woo woo side. We're into like mushrooms and wanting to be better people and like leadership and self development. She runs in that circle of people. It's very awkward because I don't talk to her anymore. And I don't talk to her because I feel like she chose money over me. I gave her a listing that she didn't earn, and then she didn't do right by me, which meant to do her best. She didn't do one private showing period during the entire time that she had the listing, and she had the hottest house in the hottest market. It was vacant. People can go see it themselves. Not one private showing. Anyway, so at the end of the day, I understand the feeling of like wanting to work with a friend, wanting to like let's make money, like we like each other, so like let's make money together. I understand that, and I get stuck with it at sometimes because there's that expression that says if you want to go farther, you go together. If you want to go fast, go alone. I don't know what the answer is because this flip that I did, it was the first time I did it all by myself. And I did it because Z did what he did to me. So I'm grateful for that because it pushed me to do it all by myself. I had the entire like weight on my shoulders, but at the end of the day, it's kind of fun because I don't have to explain my decisions to anybody else, right? I don't have to convince anybody else. I made all the decisions and I know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
right? So being alone is okay. Trying to be a partner, I keep fucking up on. I haven't found a great partner yet. I'm a believer that like we have more together and like I'm trying to work together with people, but at the end of the day, I don't know, like the partnerships are hard. I think what you have with Kenley is a really good thing. But I also think what you have is really rare.
Yeah, I think I got fucking spoiled. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think that whenever
Yeah.
people tell me that it's hard for them to find a good partner, I always like, man, y'all motherfuckers are just y'all motherfuckers are stupid or something. But it's like the actual answer is it's very hard to find a good partner, and I have a really good partner, and I don't think I appreciate Kinley enough. I think I'm
I
just
think
used to him being around.
I think you do. I mean, I know how important Kenley is to you. I know how close you are. I love the fact that like he can be stern and assertive with you, and you don't take it personally and emotionally. He seems like a person that like you seem more logical and less emotional, and he seems very emotional, which is not a bad thing. Like it's a very good yin and yang thing that you two have going on. But yeah, if you recognize that
Yeah,
that you're
what's
lucky
in,
because of him, then send him a text message and just be like, "Listen, I'm just telling you because I feel it right now. I'm grateful that I have you. I understand that not every partner is going to be great, but I really enjoy the working relationship that we have together. I'm grateful you are who you are. I'm grateful that it right now it's working, and I just want to say thank you for that. By the way, this house that you're in is very nice.
thank you.
What is it? Whose is it?
My buddy Christian's.
Christian
I'm in
who?
you.
Hernandez?
Hell no. My buddy Christian Clark from high school.
Oh. You are
No,
in and out
he
of that house left and right. Front door, back door, front door, back door.
well, it's like it's dark outside in the back, and then they come out there. So I'm going to the front, and then I like to walk and talk anyways. So it's
Yeah.
just that's just it is what it is. But no, he lived in Thailand and he lived in the Philippines, and then William lived with him in the Philippines for a little bit actually. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you want the tea on that, but I can give it to you.
No, it's okay. We can skip that part.
It's so awful.
Skip, fast forward. No need.
Yeah. But
Thailand is my favorite country. I went to Korea and then we took a break. I did like I went to no, I didn't go to China. I went to Taiwan, I went to Macau, Hong Kong, Hong Kong, Macau, Thailand, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore. I think that's all that I did. Out of the 6 countries that I did, Thailand was my all time favorite. I lived there for like almost a little bit over a month and a half, maybe. I went to school to get a certain credential because I was teaching English at the time, and there's this credential for like teaching English to adults. And so it was just, I could do it in 1 month in Thailand, or it would take me 6 months in Korea. It was my favorite place. The people were really warm. Like you go to Japan and they're like, "Oh, let's go see the Golden Temple." You go to the Golden Temple, it's the size of your bathtub. You go to Korea, their temples are like 5 football fields big. You know what I mean? Like that's a fucking temple. And then Japan is like, "Oh my God, Tom Cruise ate this ice cream here back in 1991." And you're like, "Who fucking cares?" Honestly. And then they're not nice to you. Like if you go and you want to like chit chat with them, they literally look like real life anime characters. And I went to like 5, 6 o'clock at night, something happens where they like come on the street and they literally have all these cars. I swear they're like kind of like a geisha where they're inviting you to like a bar. And so like
yeah,
I swear to God, they spent all day getting ready. Like this guy's hair looked like he individually hairsprayed it and then flat iron curled it to make it look like an exploding firework. He literally real life anime character. And they have these little cars, these little pamphlets, and then they like invite you to the bar that they work for, like a geisha. Anyway, I went to go like chit chat with them and ask them questions. They didn't want to talk to me at all. And I just remember thinking like, They're not warm. Japanese people are not warm. They don't want to engage with you. Like, I understand we don't speak the language, but body language goes a long way. In Thailand, I used to like piss my pants laughing with the locals there. And we didn't speak any of the same language at all. It's all body language, but they would interact with you. So I loved it.
Two
Great
things you made a
food.
mistake on. You said you
What?
went to China. You did go to China because you went to Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is China. And you didn't go to South Korea. There's only one Korea. Fuck you,
I'm
Greg.
I'm mad that I never had any dim sum in Hong Kong. We ran out of time. But like I wish I did the dim sum experience.
Did you go with your mama?
No, so I had a couple of girlfriends. So when I left Rhode Island, so I graduated college, I got my degree, and then once I had my degree, then I could be hired in Korea as a teacher. You can do it without a degree, but you don't make as good of money. So I literally went to school for 6.5 years and I only finished because my girlfriends graduated like they graduated a semester before me and they took off to go to Korea. And I was like, bitches, you're not fucking going to Korea and leaving me behind. So then I finally got all my work done, got my degree, and took off. Um, and then they were in a place that was like 3 hours, maybe 5, 6 hours away from me. I don't know. I barely saw them. And then we would try to coordinate like a big trip every couple of months. So we did Hong Kong and Macau together just for shits and giggles, I guess.
That's pretty dope. I'm happy you got to experience that.
Me
You
too.
said you were teaching English, and I know I've asked you this before.
Mm.
I think you can't read and write in Korean, but do you speak Korean or you're
So
not fluent?
no, so it's funny because the most amount of I let the first year I was in Korea, I was considered an elementary school teacher. That's like the entry level job, right? They'll give it to everybody and the pay is really good. So I got in on that. And I remember thinking after a year, I was like, I can't be in the countryside. I need to go to the city. I need more options and more opportunities. And I went to the city. And then when I went to the city, I was training like adults and speaking English constantly. I learned more Korean in the countryside than I ever learned going to actual school in Korea to learn Korean language. I went to the best school in I went to like the Harvard of learning Korea in Korea. And I didn't learn as much Korean as I did my first year working in the countryside. Because in the countryside, they would leave me alone. As soon as the teacher saw that I was there to teach, they would just like F off and go do whatever they wanted to do. So I'm in a classroom of like 30 kids. If I speak Korean, they don't listen to me. So if I speak Korean, then they're like, "Oh shit, she can say things to us and she can tell the teacher who's, wrong or right when the teacher gets back." So I learned more Korean speaking to the kids than I did with adults, but I speak functional, so I can order food, I can get around. If I'm drunk in the cab late at night trying to go home, I can have a full blown conversation with the taxi cab driver. But yeah, if I'm sober, it's hard for me to talk because I know my pronunciation is bad.
If I put my mind to it, how fast do you think I can learn Korean to how you can speak it?
Bro, like less than a month. You're number one, you're smart. Number two, Korean actually won the award for being the easiest language to learn, period. You can learn Korean in less than an hour. And the reason for that is once upon a time, so Korea's in the middle, then you have China, and then you have Japan, right? And so also Korea is just like the middle child constantly getting beat up. At one point, China, what is it, colonizes Korea and everything is in Chinese. And so at one point, Korea was like, listen, we need our own identity. We don't want to fucking be Chinese. For us to be us, we need our own language. And so there's a king, King Sejong, in like 1400 created this alphabet and this language so that they can have their own language as Koreans. And then once they had their own language, they taught it to each other. They had to teach it to each other fast. And then they had to share information in this language. So it's kind of like, think about it like Morse code. They had to come up with their own language and then talk to each other in their own language really fast. And so that's why the Korean language is the easiest language to learn. It does have some Chinese sounds in it, but all of it is our language, blah, 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 blah. We had to have it for us to establish ourselves as like, we are our own nation. We are not fucking Chinese. So
That's fucking interesting. I didn't know that. I learned something new today.
yeah, easiest. We won the award. Some what is it? I think it's like I don't know, some sort of big fat award for having like the easiest language to learn.
Hmm.
And again, it had to be that way. It was designed that way because we wouldn't have independence without it.
I think I'm gonna try my. I think I'm gonna try my luck at Korean and see how
I
much
think
I can
you
learn
should
in a month.
I think you should just try Spanish. Spanish would be better for you. You
I
can
know a
yell
lot of
at your
Spanish already.
contractors, you're right on the border. Every time you go to your taco shop, you can, order more
I can.
authentically.
I speak pretty
Oh,
good Spanish, Suzanne.
oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. My 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 grandparents are from Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I tell you, I'm half Hispanic. I don't know if you know that.
No, you did. You did. I forgot.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I want to test
You know,
myself, and I always do better when I challenge myself.
there's actually quite a few Koreans that are in Mexico because they started manufacturing a lot of like steel in Mexico for like Toyota, Hyundai, like all the cars, and then Samsung
Yeah.
products and blah, blah, blah. So it's the funniest thing. Like when I hear Koreans speaking English in a Spanish accent, so a lot of the students I have, they're considered students, but they're like 40-year-old managers of like international businesses. So I'd have a guy who's like stationed in Malaysia. Then I have to teach him Malaysian customs, teach him how to speak better because like Koreans are very straightforward with their language, and they don't have nuances. So like in the Korean language, there's 6 different levels of like I think they call it honorifics, but like, so if I speak to a child, it's a certain language. If I speak to a peer, it's another language. If I speak to somebody who's slightly above me, if I speak to somebody who's like super superior, and then I have like the be all emperor's language of like the most utmost respect. Anyway, there's all those honorifics, and then when you translate it into English, we don't have that, and so we have like language patterns to make language softer or gentle or whatever, and then Koreans don't have that, so they just directly translate their shit and they come off as like assholes. They piss a lot of people off. Like you have people quitting left and right and like just troublemakers. So we used to have to teach them like gentle language patterns, how to ask for help, how to invite criticism, how to blah, 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 blah. Yeah, good times.
Yeah, you sent me down a fucking a black hole of communicating and how I can get better at it. And
Oh, yeah.
it is. I think I went too far, man, because a lot of people like to trauma dump to me now because of how I'm not tooting my own horn at all, but I feel like I'm pretty good at communicating and people talk to me for a long fucking time now. And it's like my daughter's mom, her
Mm.
sister got diagnosed with some shit, and my daughter and my daughter's mom told her to reach out to me, and she talked to me forever. It's just, whoo, I don't know. It's your fault.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's a good problem to have. So if you are having a problem, then you need to state your problem. If your problem is like, I am spending too much time being a free therapist for people, then you need to come up with, so first come up with the statement. What is the problem? Then you need to create 3 different ideas as to how to address your problem and then pick the best one and then try that. So if your problem is I'm spending too much time being a free therapist, or I don't know how to assert my boundaries, where you can tell people, listen, I only have an hour. I can't be at this for the next 4 hours. Then that's a new skill that you need to learn. So figure out what your new need is. You have a great skill, which is nonviolent communication. And if you need another skill like setting boundaries, then it's one more tool for the tool belt. So you're welcome, and I regret nothing.
Fuck you.
Fuck you right back.
No, it's certainly a good problem to have, and it is my fault because I don't know how to assert my boundaries. That's literally what my therapist told me on Saturday.
Yeah. So do you have ideas as to how you want to assert boundaries? So next time somebody is coming at you with a lot of stuff, what can you do to assert your boundaries?
Hey, you guys are giving me a fucking headache. Leave me alone.
Try again.
No.
Actually, you know what's funny? If you actually did the nonviolent training, the 3-hour one that I listen to every so often, he kind of tells you how to assert your boundaries because one of the big things that he does, like right in the middle, is he talks about expressing needs. Because he says, as soon as you express your needs, it no longer becomes an argument as to blah, 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 blah. It's just, oh, she needs this, he needs that. How can I meet this person's needs? So you didn't do your whole homework if you glossed over that entire chunk and it's sitting there in front of you. So I think you need to listen again and reapply the lessons that you learned.
I probably watched it since you told me about it 3 times, and I take notes every time I watch it. And if
Yeah,
you need to express a need, you always say uh, what the need is, and I think it's you express your need, and after you express your need, you tell the other person how you can get it. That way they can give it to you. That way there's no
yeah,
miscommunication. So
yeah.
I feel like I feel like I'm overwhelmed
Mm,
because I'm getting I feel like I'm overwhelmed because I'm trying to help everybody with these problems and I want to help solve them, but it doesn't give me enough time to deal with my own stuff. So
yeah,
I need a break. I think that's a healthy way to express that I don't want to talk on the phone for 3 hours about somebody else's problem.
yeah. Who was the last person that asked for 3 hours worth of your time?
Kinley got 2 hours of my time
That's
today,
true. Yeah.
and I think I could probably look in my phone. Let me see, Kinley. Ashley Maynard, my seller on Coville.
Hmm.
She talked to me for a long time today, and she expressed her needs. She needed $46 to get her children's birth certificate, and she needed to know where she could get her children's birth certificate, and she needed to know what she had to bring to get her children's birth certificate. And
Why
she
don't
also
you teach
needs,
her? You should teach her Chat Daddy. I think you should teach everybody in your life Chat Daddy and then make them do that before they talk to you about whatever it is that they're talking to you about.
well, my solution is I called the courthouse, asked them the questions, recorded the conversation, and sent it to her.
Oh my God, you're her personal assistant at that point?
Well,
That's
I'm
terrible.
supposed to be, what's that? You want to
She's a
drive?
listen, if she's a grown adult enough to spread her legs to then get impregnated and then give birth and then raise children, she can handle a phone conversation to figure out what she needs to get her kid's birth certificate. I said what I
You
said.
would think that, but she lived with her sister. Her sister kicked her out and didn't give her none of her paperwork. So all the paperwork
Mm.
that the attorney sent her, it's at her sister's house and she's holding it hostage. She needs to get a certified copy of the paperwork. I sent the email to the city of Houston to get the paperwork, a certified copy of it sent to me. She had a appointment with the bank today at 3:30, and then she always cries about how broke she is, and I'm like, hey, you stupid fucking bitch. If you're fucking broke, get off your fat ass and drive downtown and get the paperwork, you stupid fuck. I don't say that, but that's what I want to say.
Mm.
But
I
no,
would
mhm.
or how much money are you making on this deal?
I got it for 50. I signed it for 79, and then
Nice.
I'm paying Thomas 4. So whatever, what is that, 29 minus
25,000.
4? Yeah.
25,000. Good.
And
Good.
then she
Well,
owes me
again,
$5,000 for my attorney, for the attorney.
she owes you $5,000 for the attorney. Okay. I mean,
I paid for the probate attorney.
at the end of the day, it sounds like you're getting paid a lot to be her personal secretary. So maybe just and eat it, you know?
Hey, now you hear me. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Sometimes
mind.
you can eat it, but the other thing that I would tell you is um, people start depending upon you if you do that for them. So in this one deal, once the deal is over, what's going to happen when she has other problems is she's going to come back to you and ask you for help. And so right now you're kind of training her that you are the solutions guy for everything. And so what I would tell you is maybe introduce her to Chat GPT. She should. So one of the things that I loved is I went hiking with Lily Duong, And she taught me the 1-3-1 theory, which I actually already told you about it on this call, but I'd tell you again. So, one is state the problem in one sentence. I need copies of my children's birth certificates because I don't have access to the copies I had. Okay. Three is you come up with three possible solutions to address the problem. One, I call this person. Two, I wrestle my sister for it. Three, I go to jail and whatever. Right. And then the last one is identify the most successful solution, and then proceed forward with that. So wrestle her sister and or go to the courthouse and get it herself.
Well, so
But
she
anyway,
brought up her
so
sister.
1-3-1-3-1, and I love it. And
One
maybe
three
teach
one.
her that.
Okay, I will. I will. I'm gonna get a copy of this recording. I'm gonna get the notes and all that. So her sister, she says, I am gonna get a recording and get the notes from it and fucking make sure I go over it because I am gonna send portions of it to Kinley. She said that her sister is holding them hostage, and she's like, my sister gets food stamps, but they're at my address over there on Colville. So I'm gonna
Mm,
report her for fraud, and I'm gonna tell her if she don't give it to me, I'm gonna report her for fraud. I was like, so you think if you tell her that she's gonna give you your paperwork? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, why don't you apologize to her and tell her why you need them? And it's not for you, it's for the kids. And she's like,
yeah.
no, I'm not going to fucking do that. I'm going to do it my way. I was like, all right, well, I think she's going to tell you no, but I can't tell you what to do. So she did that to her sister. And I was like, well, did she give you the paper? She was like, no. I was like, oh, okay, shocker.
Mm.
So I don't know. It's just stupid. Where the fuck is everybody tonight?
I don't know. Even myself, I'm at my mom's house. I was planting a garden. It's funny because so I do these things every single Tuesday. I have it. I noticed. I know the issue that you're having. I send out. There's a notification, an automated notification, 2 hours before it happens because you log in 2 hours before it goes down. And the
Yes.
reason why you log in is because you think it's happening now, but what it's telling you is that in 2 hours it's going to happen. That's a notification for me because if I haven't planned for something, I usually need a 2 hour warning to like go and do the thing. But some people might just need like the notification when it's happening. Like this is happening in 10 minutes, this is happening now, sort of deal. Maybe I'll change the
I,
notification.
I think on Zoom, there's a setting to text people that there's a Zoom.
That might be way more fabulous than I know what to do with. But I mean, I can look into it. I've done a couple cool things on Zoom. So all of these get like recorded and then I download it and I throw it into YouTube because on Zoom I have a certain bandwidth before they charge me more money. And technically
Yeah.
YouTube is free. And so what I've actually done is I've uploaded it to YouTube and then I've been adding in Zoom automates notes and Zoom also comes up with like next steps. So if we're talking on this for 2 hours, which we have, at the end of it, if I promised you, like, hey, I'm going to go out and do this for you, all I have to do is instead of watching the entire thing, I just go to the next steps and then it'll tell me, like, oh, Suzanne, send Greg, blah, blah, blah. So, one thing I want to send you is the 1-3-1 thing because one, I didn't make it up. Two, I find it so useful because everybody back in the day realize that like I'm the boss, I'm the mom, I know everything. So anytime something happens, instead of using their brain to think about things, all they do is come to me and ask me for the answer. And that's not good because they're not critically thinking, they're completely dependent upon me, and it's a waste of my time because I'm repeating things that I already know for their benefit and it's not to my benefit.
I feel like I'm guilty of that to you as well, that I reach out to you and ask you a lot of questions. And sometimes I
No,
feel
I
bad.
I don't feel that way. I mean, at the end of the day, you and I were friends. And it goes both ways. Like if I'm crying over Z stuff or, I'm in a pickle because I hired my friend and now I got to fire her. I mean, I go through those moments myself. So it's honestly, it's nice. I consider you like a sounding board, right? Like my therapist knows things. But then like I like having more people to talk to and get different perspectives the same way that you went around, talking to I don't know, Tyler Austin, Pace, getting people's perspectives on the whole Lane and Mike thing.
Yeah, I think at this point in time, Lane and Mike are just being pussies, and uh, I don't know.
No,
It's
no,
had to.
no, 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 no. Kenley is being a pussy. Mike and Lane are being complete assholes. Where are you going?
I think I'm going to Home Depot
Why?
to get drywall screws.
You need to start ordering online. It's really easy.
My buddy's wife wants the TVs hung up, so
Oh
I need to
God.
put on my seat. It's my seatbelt is the noise. I thought it was the maps. My buddy's wife wants
Mm.
him to hang up the TVs, so he's like, "Can you help me hang up the TVs?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can help you hang up the TVs, but they don't have drywall screws." So I think we're going to get drywall screws to hang up the TVs. Is that what's going on?
Drywall screws might not be enough. It's called a toggle. Number one, the TV comes with a bracket. The bracket should be screwed into the stud, so you shouldn't need to go get drywall screws. I mean, any TV that a man hangs is usually big ass TV. You would hate for that shit to fall down.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really know what we're going to get. I'm just saying drywall screws, but I don't know exactly what he's getting. So
Are you you're in the car with him?
yeah,
Hi,
he
friend.
can't hear you. Yeah, he
That's
can't hear
fine.
you.
All right. Listen, enjoy your evening, make good choices. It's called a toggle screw. If you're mounting a TV, if you're really mounting a TV, there's a bracket, you put it in the 2x4s. You do not mount a TV to drywall. And if you're not mounting the TV to drywall, then you do not need drywall screws.
I don't know what we're going to get, but we're going to get what we need, and I'll send you a picture of it afterwards. All right.
All right, go have fun. Thanks for
All right.
coming, and thanks for talking to me about Lane and Mike. I appreciate it.
No, I
I
appreciate your
appreciate
feedback.
you. I appreciate you trusting me with it.
Yeah, I appreciate your feedback. I respect it, and just let me know. I need to figure out how to access it, because I'm not.
I'll get
I
it
don't
to
know.
you.
I'm here, and I don't ever watch them because I'm kind of here already. But I want to go
Uh,
back on
I,
this one, and I want to. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll upload it and I'll give it to you tonight. I'll do it right now.
All right. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Love you. Good
You're
night.
welcome. Bye.